Okay. And away we go. Welcome to the first ever episode of Into the Van. I'm Mike West and I'm so excited to be getting this journey underway. I'm an old country troubadour. I hate that word, troubadour. I'm an old country singer and I'm best described as not country enough, not blues enough, not folk enough, too heavy. I get to weave in and out of these genres from punk and metal festivals to country gigs to folk shows, and that has lent itself to me being able to sit down and talk with so many amazing musicians from all these different genres that I thought it was a crime to not record them and create a podcast. But outside of musicians, I'm going to be sitting down with poets, comedians, artists, writers, and anyone who's driven and passionate about what they do. So that can be people who set up independent businesses, people who go from different careers, and it's just a way to be inspired. That's what I want this podcast to be. I want you to be able to take away the passion and interest in topics and things that we talk about that help them get started, and you can apply it to yourselves. That's what I'd love to see. And I'm going to take things away from this as well, because I love, the more I can talk to passionate people, the more passionate I get, and it can lead to anything you want to do. Part of the reason I did this podcast was talking to other people, and a lot of people say, I want to start a podcast. Do it. There's nothing stopping anyone now in this day and age from doing what they want to do in a creative field, as long as you can carve the time out. It's yours, basically. With this podcast, it is called Into the Van because it is recorded out the back of my Mazda Bongo. I've got a little camper van I tour UK and Europe with, and it's super comfy, it's super intimate, and it's a great place to record a podcast. And I wanted to record somewhere outside and a bit different because you can hear the rain, you can hear the weather, you can hear the wind, you can hear the traffic driving past, you can hear police sirens normally when you're recording around my neck of the woods. And it gives it a weight and a real world feel to it that I wanted. So it's not in a studio, it's not in a house, it's literally out the back of my van. And I think it pays off immeasurably. And I really hope you enjoy it. This is a completely new venture for me. I'm pulling in a lot of favors to get artists and people onto this, and people I've always respected and I've always talked with, but I've never sat down and recorded anything before. And this is a great memento for me to sit down with these people I know and respect and have a conversation and a chat and see where it goes, and ask them the questions that I've always wanted to, from songwriting processes to booking tours to working with labels to making festivals. And I've also been sitting down with venues and promoters. So if you're a creative person, you want to know how this industry works, I'm definitely going to be diving into that as well. I'm so excited to be doing this. It's going to be such a fun thing to do, and the first guest is a fucking doozy. I'm so excited to be getting this done. But let's get the boring stuff out the way. Well, not the boring stuff, the necessary stuff. Who this podcast is brought to you by, and it's not Squarespace, it's not any major promoters or sponsors or anything like that. This episode today is brought to you by me, Mike West. I am an independent musician and I am bringing out a brand new record called The Next Life. I've been working on this record for 2 years. I'm so excited to get it out there, and pre-orders opened on March 20th. This episode's coming out March 24th, so pre-orders are now open for my record. I'm going to drop some music so you can listen to it and see what you guys think before you go ahead and make a decision. Hopefully you'll dig it. But yeah, this is what I'm doing as an extra thing to the music because I love just everything creative, and I just want to be able to do more and see more and talk to more people and create things that people will enjoy. And that's the main thing musicians and artists do, is want to create something that people will enjoy. So the Next Life record is out for pre-order. I don't know when it's going to be physically released, as the pre-orders will help pay for the physical production and mastering of the thing. But I'm going to drop some music now for you to listen to.
When I go, bury me in the sky. When I go, take 2 pennies for my eyes. In my dead socket, don't need no grave.
And hopefully you digged it. Now on to the main course, the main event. This episode is with the incredible Shawn James. He's an American artist who is just fucking killing it. I've been a fan of his for years, and I was lucky enough to tour with him on his first UK tour in 2017. And that was insane within itself because I was a huge fan of this guy's. Saw he was coming to the UK, and I sent out so many emails because he put up where he was going to be, who his booker was with an email address, and if he wanted to book more shows, get in touch. So I took that email, which was from Christian, who still books his shows now. He's a great guy. And I pestered him and pestered him and pestered him until they were like, do you want to do the Leeds show? Of course. Took the Leeds show, went down. They added on 3 more dates with me, which, again, I can't thank them enough for. I wouldn't be where I am without Shawn and Christian's help. And I wouldn't be doing this podcast either because Shawn, once again, has done me a huge favour and is the first guest of Into the Van. This was recorded just before his sold-out Birmingham show on Friday the 13th of March. And I really love this chat. I'm super interested in his perspective on covers and the music industry and how he himself as an artist does things and navigates this modern world. I think we had a really good chat. I hope you really enjoy it. And yeah, let's give it a listen now for the first ever episode of Into the Van with Mike West and our first guest, Shawn James. Welcome to Into the Van with me, Mike West.
Go!
Good to go, get comfy. I don't know how long I've got you for before.
I mean, I'd say about 30 minutes or so.
Yeah,
I mean, whatever's comfy.
Yeah.
You know.
Cool.
We just gotta get dinner and all that, but doors aren't until 7:30, so it's easy enough.
So how's the tour been going so
it's
far?
solid, man.
Yeah.
I can't complain about nothing, honestly.
Because this show's sold out, isn't it?
This one is, yeah. Last time we were in Birmingham, I think we had 60 people.
Yeah, because I remember
increase.
in 2017 it was the Hammer and Anvil. And it
That's
was like
right. Yeah. The
30
Iron
to-
Maiden theme.
Yeah, 30 to 50 people there.
Yeah.
So it just makes me so happy to see like you sell out a Birmingham show
Yeah.
3 years later. It's such a
You know, we've been fortunate enough to have it. It's a slow grow, but it is growing, so it gives you hope, you know.
yeah. That's the thing, man. I was talking to him. I feel so bad. Last time I saw Christian was at the Amigo show in Stoke.
Right.
I was fucking so sick.
Really?
That day, man. Like, I don't know what happened. Finished work and stuff, drove up on a half day, and I just wasn't feeling good on the
Right.
motorway there. Pulled up and threw up.
As soon as he saw you?
No, like, as soon as I pulled up to the venue before he
Yeah.
showed up, it was that bad. I had to reverse back to get out the car.
Holy shit.
So I was just shaking for the entire. So I haven't like been able to see Christian properly and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, he said he saw you over
yeah,
in Bridgestone, right?
Yeah.
Or
It was the
Cobblestones,
underground. Yeah.
Bridgewater. That's right.
But we were talking about musicians, and it seems that I've been trying to work this thought in my head where musicians age like dogs, where the amount of time you put into it is actually more. So it's like how dogs age like every 7 years. It's
Right.
musicians. It's not until you really get to your 7th, 8th year that you kind of find your footing, and it's a really weird like thing I think because a lot of people will grind out for a year or two
And then they get tired of it.
and get
burn
tired of
out.
it. But
Yeah.
it's really like 5,
It's a long
6.
game, man.
Yeah.
You know, because, I mean, for me, with the Last of Us thing, that happened in the end of 2016, almost 2017. And by that point, I had been touring since 2013, so about 4 years. And then that kind of, I feel like, cut the time in half.
Yeah.
Because it exposed me on a major way, and then it just helped to get there. But, yeah, I think a lot of musicians don't realize, or they have this mentality that kind of like The Voice or American Idol, where they want to get rich quick or, you know, get famous quick.
Yeah.
But you're kind of missing out on a lot of the adventure. You know,
definitely.
It's shitty sometimes, but it's also the way it is.
Yeah,
you
man.
know?
Because
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I've been doing this 4 years this September, and I know I'm halfway to where it'll be.
Yeah.
Where I'll start to notice anything. Really, it's just a complete utter grind.
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, I think I no, I wouldn't say I burned myself out, but I went really hard for the first few years to the point where I was just tired all the time, and I think it's finding that healthy balance in between everything. But, a lot of times it's hard because I had to work a regular job while doing that, trying to find something to where I could take off time, So it is a grind in a way.
How far into it was it when you did start doing music full time? When you quit like an actual job or a real job?
I'd say, it was when I discovered that I could busk and make money. So I was writing some of the tunes in 2010, 11, but I didn't release the first album until 2012. And it was in 2013 that I quit everything. So about a year. Yeah. But it was really because I discovered that I could busk. And
Where were you?
I was in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Yeah. And it was there that, like, there was, we lived downtown. It was really cheap cost of rent, too. And a college town. So it seemed center of the U.S. It seemed a smart move to base myself there at the time. Plus, I had a bunch of friends. Yeah. But yeah, it was really when I discovered I was working 40 hours a week before, unloading semi trucks from 4 a.m. till about noon. And it was hard work, and I hated it at times. But when I started busking, I quickly realized, like, what the hell have you been doing? This was always an option, and you can work like a third of the time, a half of the time, and just make as much. It just blew my mind. So that was a big revelation for me, and it enabled me to really start putting time and focus into this.
That's crazy, man, because I think people worry about having a job and being sustainable. It's more of a working smart, not hard mentality.
Exactly.
Because if you're pouring yourself into a 40-hour job, you're not
gonna have the energy or the time or the focus. You gotta have time to relax a bit and not feel burnt out. But yeah, it's a challenge,
It's so interesting, man. It's hard because everyone always burns out before they can do the creative thing. But if they just took a step back and realized they could probably drop a day, or like half a day, and then put that into it.
Yeah, see, that's what I like with this touring that we've been doing. I used to tour every day, a 45-day tour, 45 shows. But now we're getting to a point where I've realized, I'm healthier. My vocals are in better shape. I'm not wearing them out. So now we're doing 5 days on, 2 days off a week. But that's just wasn't feasible back in the day. When you're making just enough to cover your gas and maybe buy some food for everybody, it's can be tough.
Yeah. So the first tour, 2017 was your first UK tour.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was you solo. And then it was, did a short run with the Shapeshifters.
Yep. After that same year, at the end of the year, we spent like 5-6 months in Europe and the UK that year. It was crazy looking back, to be honest.
Yeah. And how do you think Europe and British crowds are compared to back home in the States?
I've been asked this a few times, and it's always the same. I just feel like in the States we're a little bit jaded. There's music all the time, and not that there's not here, but I think over in UK and Europe, they just appreciate it more because you're crossing an ocean and you're coming from so far away, and maybe they don't get that type of music all the time. Like, they'll get local musicians and people in their towns and this and that, but I just think they hold it more dearly and kind of appreciate it a little bit more.
100%. I think the further you go afield, the more people appreciate you making the effort to come out.
And it makes perfect sense. That's the way it should be, kind of, when you think about it. So that's it. And it's funny, but the U.S. is now just starting to catch up to the energy that I felt in Europe for years. Yeah, and now it's just now, after so many years of touring, I feel like people are starting to get it more, and I don't know. It's hard to put a specific answer on it, honestly. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely think UK and Europe, they just they come out harder, and they go a little wilder because it's a unique, and you're only there a month or two, so they got to make the most of it. You got to make it
count before you disappear again for a bit.
Exactly.
So the solo, you're a trio on this tour, are you?
This tour we're a trio, yeah.
How, because you've done a full band as well last year. What do you like? What's been your thinking or reasoning behind doing the different?
Setups? It's a lot of times I use what I have, and sometimes life happens, and you might lose a person because their job just won't do it. Or they have a baby. That happened once. So life happens, and I would love to have a 5, 6, 7-piece band with backup singers and horns and all this stuff, but the reality of it is the expense.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, it's finding this balance and this middle ground between the expense of it and then trying to fill out the sound as much as you can within your means, and that unfortunately is the reality of it.
Yeah.
You know, so but it also is kind of exciting and fun because you get to recreate songs over and over again and reinterpret them to who you have, the skill of the player, and also the layers you have in the moment. Like this set is one of my favorites with the 3-piece because it's you know, it starts off just me solo, and then it escalates to me in the bass, and then the drums come in and we do like the more tame ones, and at the end it's just balls to the wall, you know.
Did you ever watch, was it Talking Heads, where he kind of did that, where it was David Byrne on stage first singing, and then the acoustic, and then the bass, and then he just built up the full band, the entire thing. I think from your first tour, that seems like it's more of a drawn out process, but it's a really, I think, emboldening way to do it, and it gives the audience something.
Exactly. You know, last year what I did was we came out swinging with the band, and then I'd take 20 to 30 minutes in the middle. But I don't know, it just felt a little lackluster, like the energy wasn't increasing the whole time. And then I think people also saw it as a chance to take a smoke break or a drink break. So with this, I kind of feel it's just unending building on top of each other till you get to the end and it's the climax, you know? So yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I think it's the punchiest but also tightest kind of setup we've had, just because it's only 3 people and it's, you know, drums, bass, guitar. So it's just tight, punchy, in the pocket, and we've reworked songs to kind of fit that. Yeah. So I've been having a blast with it.
Man.
It's a shame it can't go on for the rest of this tour,
but I think people underestimate how powerful the 3-piece can be. Like
Absolutely.
I saw Grand Magus the other week in Manchester.
Yeah.
And they're a 3-piece, and that was the loudest band I'd seen outside of Motorhead. And it was like, my dad, who we go to shows all the time together, he never wears earplugs, he never does anything like that. And even he looked at me and went, shit. And it was just purely a trio, and I think that's a really fun dynamic to play with, because it's not used as much as I think it should be, or it could be.
Yeah. There's something about it to where you have the necessary layers for rhythm, for low end, and then you get your top end guitar, and it's the simplest, not the simplest, but as a band I think it's the simplest, but if you really hone it in and style it, you know, around what you have, it can be the strongest for sure.
Cool, man. I saw a video of doing Like a Stone in this set.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that sounds good. Was there a reason behind picking that song, or is it just...
You know, I've always really, really liked that song, and lyrically what he's talking about in it kind of sadly relates to what happened with his death, his untimely death and all that. And, you know, I've had that song in my pocket ever since he died, but I didn't want to put it out there because I felt, I don't know if disrespectful is the right word, that's the wrong word. It felt a little like if I released it right after, I might have been like capitalizing on it happening, and it felt a little icky and weird. So I just waited. And this tour and this year, it's been long enough, and I was like, all right, it's time, you know. And I've had people request a Cornell song forever, you know, and I was like, all right. But yeah, I chose that one because I like, he did acoustic versions of it himself, which I loved, and I thought that I could take it and kind of, you know, like I always do with my covers, pay respect to the way it was, and then also add my little twist to it.
That is the thing, man. I think with your stuff, especially when you do a cover, you completely take your own, because I've fucked around with Like a Stone, and I could never find the angle to make it mine, or to make it get a hold, and then I heard your version and was like, fuck, I'm never touching that one.
Well, man, I don't think, honestly, I didn't really go too far from his version acoustically, but I think it's just a different type of intensity and energy I can put into it. And, you know, he had his own thing, and that's the best it will ever be, is the original, you know. But I just felt it was time to pay some respect, and, you know, because he's one of the best male vocalists there was, you know.
So insane. I did a similar thing. I've been fucking around with a cover of Numb by Linkin Park, just because they're so entwined together now, Chris and Chester, and it's just a heartbreaking thing. But again, it's when do you play it, and when do you leave the space for it?
I'm not trying to talk shit on other people, but I saw so many people jumping on this bandwagon of, oh, it's popular right now almost, or I'm going to get a lot of hits off this because it's in the media right now. And that's what exactly turned me off. I was like, that just felt wrong. So that's why I took some time and just, did it that way. But yeah, I'm happy with it. And we're going to do, everybody's been asking me, are you doing a recording of it? Yeah, I think I want to do it because I just moved to Seattle in the U.S., and that's, I believe, where he's from. So I want to maybe find a beautiful place out there that's affiliated with Seattle that people know, and do it maybe out in the woods somewhere in a cave or something. I'm gonna take my time with that one. I get requests for covers all the time, and I'm never offended or anything. I love it, but I feel like there's a fine line between being known for just doing covers and then originals. Yeah. So I like to space them out and not just put a whole ton of them out there.
Yeah, I've been kind of vehemently against playing covers in my sets just because I'm still doing pub gigs, like 2 45-minute sets, and it's mostly originals. I do 3 covers, and people come up and I just shoot them down straight away. Yeah. And that's kind of put trepidation in then doing other covers. But with the actual covers themselves, do you have issues with the rights and things like that? How do you get around, or how do you deal with getting the rights to the certain songs and things? Like for the Shapeshifters album, like you did a full covers, was that a difficult task to get the rights to those songs?
Not really. There's an agency, I don't know how it is in the UK and in Europe, but Harry Fox Agency is the one that you go through in the US, and they make it really simple. You have to do your research, so you have to find out who the publisher is. That's the biggest thing. Who wrote it, all the information's correct, and then you go over there and you kind of prepay for what you think the streams may be, or the downloads, or physical copies get a little tricky, and that's why we never physically pressed the covers album from the Shapeshifters. But yeah, man, I don't know, I feel like it's such a gray area, because anyone is allowed to technically release a cover after a song is released. You don't necessarily need permission. No. Anyone can go on YouTube and put a cover up. The permission wasn't necessary. It's when you get to the point where you're making money off of it that you may get a knock on the door from the government or some agency being like, hey, we want our cut. Yeah. So that's really what people have to look out for. Anyone can do the cover, but as soon as you start making money off it, that's when it gets tricky. Yeah,
that's usually because I'm looking at doing Rainbow in the Dark.
Yeah.
It's like I've got it bookmarked to do my research on things like that, and it always seems like it's a tricky one to do. I think there are some UK agencies for it.
Yeah, and it's really only if you want to sell it. Like I said, you could put it up on YouTube, and that's why they have those algorithms. They'll go ahead and mark it, and you won't earn ad revenue off it. It'll go to them, but you can still do the cover. Spotify, other things like that, that's where you got to be careful if you're releasing it on the streams. Yeah,
it's crazy, man. It's just a weird time for music now, and you released the first 3 records independently, and then with The Dark and the Light, it was through a label. What made you switch?
I wanted to I wanted to try and see what it would be like to work with a team, and I've done it my way independently for so long that I knew that I could always go back to that. Yeah. But if I didn't try, it's an independent label first and foremost, and that's kind of what in the end attracted me to it, because it just made sense. I didn't want to go major or anything like that, and they were able, I maintain creative control and all this, and the decisions are made as a team and not just what they say goes. But yeah, if I wouldn't have tried it, and if I didn't try it, I would have always wondered what if, because I know what it's like to be independent. I love it. And, who knows? I may go back to that in the future, I may not. I don't know. But this was, it was a learning. It was a learning game, really, and I wanted to see what it was like to work with a label, learn some things, see what that world was like, and yeah, it hasn't really had any negatives, but there are ups and downs to all of it. Yeah, you know what I mean. So, I'm glad I did it in the end, and I think I've got one more to do with Parts and Labor, and I'm really excited about it. But I don't know what's gonna happen after that. I'm kind of playing it by ear. It's kind of how it's always been.
So, I think that is when you find someone that's a good fit, because I know there's a lot of things that I've seen in the UK that are just taking advantage of people, and they call themselves a label. Yeah. Like I saw a thing the other day where they were trying to releasing an album at the same time as they're doing graphic design, and the graphic design demos they put up were literally just, Canva, the website.
What is it?
Canva. It's just I don't know. No. It's just a little, you can do it through like Instagram post. It's like a mini marketing thing, so it's got a ton of different stuff. And I literally looked at the stuff they'd made. I made it in 5 minutes in Canva. I was like, you better not be fucking charging anyone any amount of money to do this shit. Yeah. But I think it preys on independent artists who haven't run the ringer like yourself, who are just they don't know what to do.
Well, yeah, and I think it's a lot of times in the beginning too, when you're kind of desperate for either exposure or whatever, and you're just trying to get yourself out there. Like for the first 3-4 years of me releasing music, I released through Bandcamp, and it was a pay what you want. If you didn't have anything, well, put 0 in there and maybe spread the word, help out. So I understand that aspect, but you got to know the line of where to, if your work is actually being appreciated, and
you have to know your own value and when to...
your own value is exactly it. There you go. Yeah, man.
But it's an interesting time for independent musicians, especially with...
It's a new area for everyone. Even the majors, the major labels, they still have control over stuff, but they don't know what's going to happen. No. So it's a new time and a new age, but it's also exciting because, artists have the most capabilities and abilities than they've ever had to release.
It's really
music.
leveled the playing field against the independent guy in his bedroom and the major people. They've all got basically the same tools at their disposal. It's been a really interesting thing to see.
Absolutely, and it's only, I don't even know what's to come next. We'll see. I know there's more.
Yeah, are you on TikTok yet?
No, I'm not. I mean, some of the music, I think I've released it on it, but I've seen some funny things on it.
Yeah.
But I haven't messed with it. No.
I've put my music onto it through my distributor. I haven't downloaded it or anything yet. I think I'm too old for it.
It just, what is it? Is it kind of like lip syncing to songs, or is it?
I think it's like if Instagram and Snapchat had a baby, so it's like 15
Is it like
seconds.
Vine kind of?
Yeah, so it's like a new
so.
Vine type deal.
Okay.
Because just before you came down from Soundcheck, I was looking at an article through Ditto Music about TikToks, and I was like, I don't think I have the time or energy to fuck with a new thing.
That's another thing, when you're touring full time and you're already on these other things, it's adding a whole nother, I don't know if I want to call it workload, but yeah, it's just, I tend to go towards the main ones and try to reach how I've been and see how it goes. But yeah, I'm not opposed to it. It's just I like to wait and see what happens, and then if it's all right, then let's go for it.
Because there was an app that came out last year that didn't...
What was it called again?
Because I remember you signed up to it. I signed up to it.
Everyone, the industry in general, was like freaking out over this thing, and it was probably marketing and publicity.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? Let's try it
give
out.
it a shot, and then I was
What was it called? I don't even remember. I remember after a week or two, I was like, oh, this isn't gonna go anywhere for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did try that one, and then it seemed like a wasted effort.
Yeah.
So.
Because when a new platform comes out, you kind of think if you're one of the first people to capitalize on it, you're ahead of the curve, and you might be able to connect with some people.
Right.
But then it's how many of these apps do you clog up your phone with down the line?
Exactly.
I can't even remember the name of it.
They're making apps to release, to connect to all the different social apps, and you make one post and it sends it to all, because there's so many these days.
Yeah, I use Beat Chain for that, which is good, and it tracks your posts. And
I haven't done it yet, but I notice it, and I'm like, that may be easier for me.
Like, I can queue up a month's worth of posts and then leave it.
That's beautiful.
And that's a really helpful thing. But then it shows like what did well. And it'll be all the music.
Also, to get you the stats and everything.
Yeah, and it's like all the music posts do shit, and then I put a picture up saying how much I love my girlfriend on her birthday.
I've noticed this. I've noticed this. I'll have a new song released or something, and it's all right. And then, a picture of me and my dog, and it's like, boom, it's the biggest one I've released this year. I think it's because people want to connect and see you as a normal person, and see your day to day, because a lot of times artists don't present themselves that way. They only want to show what they want to be seen as. And I'm guilty of that at times and stuff, but I find when we open up a little bit and let them in and just see a little bit of the day to day, or like a stupid post or this and that, they really respond warmly to it, because you're just another human being.
I think it lends itself especially to like our type of music, because we're not Kiss, we're not the fire breathing makeup people, so it's like people like you and Danny, like Amigo the Devil, the more you just like show like how vulnerable and human you are, it seems to engage, and your fans are really good at like receiving that.
Yeah, I was horrible in the first few years about talking to people, and then I started. The more I did it, the better it got, and I noticed the energy of the shows got better because I was relating to them more. It wasn't that the music was any worse or better; it was just the fact that I was connecting to them on a human level and just speaking directly to them. And ever since, I've never stopped doing it, because it's something that just feeds the shows and makes you more genuine than just, getting up there, play the song and be done.
Yeah, definitely. I think like the middle part of speaking and stuff's really important. I've been gauged my way behind it because I'm like sarcastic as a person anyway.
Yeah.
So I try and put that through, but it's also after seeing you and Me the Devil and things, it's trying to give a bit more. So on the last few shows I've been a bit more honest, and the response has already been noticeable. It's been really weird.
Yeah. And it's so uncomfortable at first. It's like the most uncomfortable thing, and I felt awkward and just weird. And am I phrasing these things right? Am I looking like an idiot? I'd hear recordings of it back, and I'd be like, oh, I hate it. But it's undeniable what you feel when you're on the stage when you get that connection. And there's no replacing it. I don't care how good you are or whatever. Like, relating on that basic human level and just connecting is the biggest thing. Will make the show 10 times better.
Yeah, man. It's a crazy thing that you don't really take for value, that people just want to connect with you, which sounds like you wouldn't not know that as a musician, because that's what you do at a base level, is connect with people through music. But they want to connect to you and your music. It's a really weird.
They don't want. Well, what I've noticed, they don't want an image or a front when you're on the stage. Like a lot of people, I may dress up and wear a suit on the stage, you know what I mean? But that doesn't take away from the connection and being real, and it's a huge thing. One of my pet peeves is, I guess, every musician is different, but one of my pet peeves personally is when you can tell the person is staging a persona on stage, and when they get off, it's like they're a whole nother being. I'm like, oh, that's essentially fake. And not talking shit. It's just personally, I kind of get a bad taste in my mouth when I see that.
Especially for like the younger acts, and I think it's done partly through being scared or nervous about it.
That too, yeah. And they just, I get it. It's scary. It's weird, but exposing yourself to it and doing it is the only thing that's going to make it more comfy, and you'll get better at it. You learn how to talk to people better, how to make them laugh, or it's glorious once you get used to it and you find yourself able to enjoy what you once hated about performance,
So like when are you going to be releasing? I know you're doing like a Stone new record coming for Parts and Labor. Is there that in the pipeline? Is there a
I'm writing it right now. I've been touring so much that, when I get off the road, I don't want to focus on music. It's like you just kind of want to balance back out, enjoy family, and I don't know. It's I wouldn't say I'm struggling with it, but I'm still finding that fine line and balance between, devoting all of my time to music, because I find that the less time I devote to it and the more time I give myself to just be, the better the songs come.
Well, you get to recharge, and
exactly. So I have an EP coming out that I believe will be sometime around the end of May. There's a new song on there and a remade older one with Parts and Labor, because we just felt that it was time to really give this recording its due diligence with the quality, because back in the day I was recording in my bedroom, with one mic, and it's amazing. You capture a certain energy through that. But at the same time, so that's coming out I think at the end of May, and then I'll be releasing videos and covers and stuff kind of as I feel fit as we go. My wife is getting better at videography and all that stuff, so now I have this inclusive thing to where if we feel inspired, let's just do it, which is beautiful. Before I had to hire or just arrange something and be super prepped for it, but now it's kind of in the moment. So that's also fun.
That's the nice thing, man, because I've got Sony Vegas on my computer, and I just literally use my phone and take like 4 different videos of different angles and edit it together for a night.
That's the other thing. Technology is making it easier and easier to pull these things off that you could not back in the day without a professional in their field. It's beautiful.
Cool, man. And moving up to Seattle, what was the reason behind that? Just to get away and
I've always been attracted to that area with the natural beauty, and
because that's the Pacific
Northwest. So it's a lot like Scotland and England and the UK. Like, it's raining a lot. It's very cloudy. It's a lot of people call it depressing, but I find it beautiful. I find it romantic in a way, and I find it inspirational. So we've always kind of known that we would end up there someday, and always wanted it, but I don't know. I was living in LA, And I've had a great time in LA, but I hated the day-to-day existence of LA. Just to get anywhere, to do this, to do that, it took forever, you know. I love the nightlife and all the shows and all the activities and the opportunities.
Yeah.
But just to go to the grocery store was a hassle. To go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And little stuff like that. So we kind of got burnt out on it pretty quick. I was there about a year and a half. And then we toured for a year last year. And we were like, well, we're not going to live anywhere because it doesn't make sense to pay rent when you're never home. And then at the end of this year, you know, my wife, she had some troubles with her health, but she had surgery and she's doing better. So we kind of came to the conclusion that, okay, we need a home base, you know, just to kind of, I hadn't lived anywhere before LA for like 2 or 3 years. So we had that adventure and that thing, and now we kind of craved the nest.
Nice, man.
So we just, honestly, it was on a whim. After that last tour, I was like, you want to move here? Like, let's just. So I had storage units in LA, Arkansas, and Chicago, and we after the tour in Seattle. The last date was in Seattle. I drove all the way to LA, all the way to Arkansas, back to Chicago, and then looped all the way back around to Seattle. I was like, this was the worst way we could have done this, but it was an adventure.
Yeah, I always get excited just because I'm a huge, like, obviously, like, Seattle's like grunge and things.
Yeah.
But Mount Rainier's near there.
It's gorgeous, man. That's the thing I love about it. So we were going to move to Colorado, to the Denver, Fort Collins area. But when I thought about it, you're not actually in the mountains. You have to do a day trip to get there and then come back. Versus someplace like Seattle, what I loved about it is even in the middle of the city, you're surrounded. You could see the bay. You can see the mountains in the distance. So it's extremely inspirational for me. Yeah, so I love it.
Yeah, and that's where Harry and the Hendersons' Bigfoot was found as well. Back in the day,
Holy shit! I haven't thought about that in forever. Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah,
I used to watch
whenever
that.
I see Mount Rainier, I'm like, that's where Harry's from.
That's hilarious, man. I have not thought about that in a minute.
Yeah, but I don't want to keep you too much. We're getting up to the half-hour mark.
All good, man. If you got another few, it's all good.
Yeah, it's good, man. Well, this is part of what I wanted to do with the podcast is because the UK gig scene's a bit weird. I wanted to still create content, and I'm lucky enough to know amazing people like yourself where...
Yeah.
You know, one of the things I regret about touring with you in 2017, I didn't take any pictures together or anything like that.
We didn't.
No. So I was like...
I don't even remember. I mean, I don't remember the picture side, but that does suck because then you lose the...
Yeah. I think I've got
footage.
one blurry picture of us outside Newcastle.
No, that's it?
And then there's a few blurry ones from the back of, like, Leeds, and that's really it.
What
So I
a
was
bummer, because we had such a good time at the end.
Yeah, it was so fun, and that's why I wanted to do this. So if people that I obviously know and respect, I get to sit down, we've got this like hour long or whatever talk to kind of look back on as a little memento as well, and I get to do it with my friends. And
I love it, man. You know, I thought about doing something similar to this, and I love your setup in the van. But I thought about doing this on drives.
Yeah.
You know, after a gig and then talking about the gig before or meeting someone local because you're right. You know, a lot of times as musicians, you know, you do the time, you travel, you get to the gig, you set up, you check into the hotel, you come back, and then it's game on. And then you just repeat, rinse. And then you feel like you're almost missing out on experiencing the culture of the place. You meet the people, which is a huge culture of the place. But a lot of times I feel like, well, you know, people are like, oh, you got to go here and do that. How was it? And I'm like, well, the venue was cool and the hotel was rad and the views were cool, but I don't really know. I couldn't tell you what bars are the best or what restaurants are awesome.
Yeah, unless it was a service station, I can't tell you what it was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think this is a step in the right direction, man.
Oh, if you did a podcast driving from like gigs and stuff,
I was thinking about it in the van, just driving, talking with everybody. I'm debating it.
Yeah, this whole setup was less than 80 quid. So
that's the other beauty of it. Yeah. Technology's making it easier and easier.
Yeah, technology is just
we just do headsets.
Yeah.
Look like Britney Spears and sync in there.
Yeah. So with coronavirus crippling the music industry, you've got 2 dates left.
I do, and we just found out this morning. It's a big bummer, and you know, I think people have found out through their local authorities telling them, but I'm kind of waiting to release it because we are rescheduling, and I don't want to create this upset of but you know, because we're coming back in the fall, so we're gonna reschedule it. So I'm giving them the weekend to get it all sorted, and I'm gonna announce probably Monday or something. But it's a bummer.
Yeah, man, because I know Moonshine Wagon, and they're playing with you guys in Spain. And that would be such. I might try and make the trip to Spain if you're doing that in fall.
Spain, honestly, Spain and the Spanish folks are some of the most intense, fun shows that we have. Just this whole thing is a bummer, this was supposed to be a 7-week tour-ish, and it's 2, and of course I feel for the people coming down with symptoms, and for health and safety reasons, I understand and I agree, but it still sucks.
Yeah, it can still suck.
I mean,
because I know I've got a friend who's a biomedical scientist in Liverpool. He works in the labs, and the second it hit the media a few weeks ago, he started wearing the mask and the gloves, and everyone's kind of been like, oh, should we take it seriously? And he said it to me, and I've been passing it on to people who try and not take it seriously. Mm-hmm. He said, you can either look like a dick and take it seriously, wear the mask, wear the gloves, wash your hands and stuff, or you can not take it seriously and kill your nan. Which is a really dramatic way to put it, but
it's real.
That's the 100% reality of it.
And also people with, I have a friend in Seattle who's taken this medicine that's necessary for him to live, but it's lowered his immune system to nothing. Yeah. And if he catches it, there's almost a 0% chance of him living. Yeah. And when I heard he made a post the other day, and it kind of shook me because I hadn't thought of it like that, and I was like, "Oof, yeah." So I get it, and I'm not. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm upset. I understand. It's just a bummer. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. It's a bummer that it exists. It's a bummer that it's happening to people. It's a bummer for the music industry. It's a bummer all around.
Yeah, it's hard because you can't direct it to anyone.
Yeah, you can't.
And it's just a really shit situation.
It is.
Boy, it's just.
But at least I see it now. After kind of thinking about it, we kind of had our upset moments in the van today, and kind of got out all the frustrations, but. Now when looking at it, I just see it as a delay. Yeah. Because the stuff is still happening. We're still going to do it. It's just putting a little bit of a gap and extending a tour in the fall. So it is what it is. We'll recover. Financially, it sucks right now. But again, it's just a pause. Yeah. So luckily, the thing that I feel for the musicians that aren't so far along that maybe put so much effort and money and publicity into something that may have
like an album release tour or something
now they're just screwed. But I think the people will rise up and help and support
it's
artists.
Definitely a rallying call, because music's kind of taken for granted, especially in the grassroots level. Yeah. And if that goes away, people are really going to fucking notice it.
Absolutely.
And I think this is partly going to shock people into being like, oh shit, if we don't buy a t-shirt, if we don't buy the vinyl, if we don't pre-order, these little bands aren't going to be able to make it much longer.
No, and everybody started like that. Yeah. So, that's how you develop and get the Chris Cornells and Eddie Vedders and, all these guys, It's just... Yeah, we'll see what happens. I hope that it's quickly resolved and gotten over, and that we don't have to... The human race doesn't have to deal with stuff like this too much more, but I'm also afraid because it seems like it's gonna continue,
I don't know how long it's gonna be lasting. I've got an April tour that we're considering pulling, depending on how quarantine goes and if the further along it gets.
Right. The hopeful part is that I've seen decrease, I guess, in countries that have had it sooner than others. So I'm hoping that people, or a vaccine gets released or something. No one really knows right now.
Yeah, it's just all.
It's a big gray area. Like it's hard to understand a lot of it, but. I think we just stick by the facts we do know and try to protect each other as best we can.
Yeah, boy, it's crazy, man, but we'll get a move on so you can get to sold out show in
Yes,
Birmingham Dead Wax. I'm so happy to be seeing you again.
Hey,
it's
been
wonderful
such a great to do this with
to
you,
catch
Mike.
up, man. And let's leave it not too soon next time, but thanks so much, Sean. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, thank you, man.
And there you have it. That is the first episode of Into the Van done. I really hope you enjoyed it. I had a fucking blast sitting down with him, and then he just tore the stage apart on Friday night. That was a fucking killer set. Unfortunately, as we've spoken, the podcast, his tour has been cancelled and rescheduled for the end of the year. If you want to know when those dates are, if you head to ShawnJamesMusic.com, you'll be able to see when those dates are scheduled, and I implore you to pick up some new music and some records to support him through this time, because that's all we can do at this time with these musicians, myself included, is just keep supporting them online and offline as much as you can. So yeah, there we go, guys. Let me know what you think. I'd really appreciate if you recommended this podcast to a friend. We're just getting started, and I really want you along for the journey. It's going to be super fun. Again, Next Life, the pre-orders are now open for the record, so if you head to mike333west.com, you can head to the Bandcamp store there, and if you dig the music, do a pre-order, and I'd really appreciate it. Until next time, we're going to have the Crap Sons for that They are a punk band from Merseyside, and they are a fucking hilarious duo. I'm so excited to get this podcast underway, and I really hope, again, I just hope you find some value in it. So have another listen, share it with a friend, and until next time, guys, stay heavy.